Today I'm going to show you how to make brownie biscottis. It's a little time consuming, but it's really simple. So here's what you'll need. 1 3/4 cups of flour, 2 eggs, 2/3 cup of sugar, 1/3 cup of butter, 1/3 cup of cocoa powder, some extra flour for dusting, 1 egg with 1 tablespoon of milk, 2 teaspoons of baking powder with a pinch of salt, half a cup of diced white chocolate, and the ones that I had were originally this shape, and I just diced it up into smaller pieces, and it's up to you however big chunks you want in your biscottis. You can go as small as you want. And then 1/3 cup of walnuts, and you can replace walnuts with hazelnuts or pecans, whatever you want, and then 1 teaspoon of vanilla. And then later on you'll also need 3/4 cups of toasted walnuts and 3/4 cups of white chocolate. We're going to drizzle this on top. Okay, so first we're going to start with the butter. Get that in there. And you want to preheat your oven to 375 degrees Fahrenheit. So we're just going to mix the butter and the sugar until smooth, about less than a minute. And you need to make sure that your butter is at room temperature so it's easy to mix together. Then we put in the eggs and mix this until smooth, about a minute. And then a teaspoon of vanilla. And just like scones, biscottis are also really good to take to school because they're really convenient. Just put in a Ziploc bag and take it. Okay, now in the flour I'm going to mix in the baking powder and the pinch of salt, and also the cocoa powder. And I'm just going to whisk this together, just mix it well, because it's easier to combine it in here versus just putting it in the egg mixture. And this is unsweetened cocoa powder. And once it's all combined, just mix it in the egg mixture on low speed. And then just grab a spatula and just get the excess batter off that's on the mixer. Because the batter becomes really stiff, so the walnuts and the chocolate, we're going to mix it in with a spatula. Just fold it in. Okay, so now the chocolate, and if you want you can just use milk chocolate instead of the white chocolate. I just like white chocolate because I think it goes well with the cocoa powder. And just mix this in with a spatula. You can use your hands if you want, it might be easier. Just make sure it's well distributed throughout the entire batter. Okay, then we're going to flour the cutting board. put this on here. Just like that. And just put some extra flour on top. And then just roll it into a bowl until it becomes a little less sticky. And then I'm going to split this in half. And then make each one into a little bowl. I'm going to get the rolling pin and flour that as well. And then just roll it slightly. You don't want to make it too thin. Just a little. Just make it into a nice rectangle like that. And pick it up carefully and transfer it onto the baking sheet, which is lined with a parchment paper. And I'm going to do the same thing with this one. And then you're just going to put it in the oven for about 20 to 25 minutes, and I'll show you what's next. And before these go in the oven, the egg yolk with the tablespoon of milk, just mix it a little, just combine it, and then just brush this on top. Okay, now this is going to go in the oven for 20 to 25 minutes. Okay, so I let this bake for 20 minutes and I let them cool for about 5 minutes, and I'm going to slice it up diagonally, about 1 inch wide. If you want the really long ones, you can cut those in half too. Just diagonally so it looks pretty. And these smell so good while they're baking. And now we're going to put it back in the oven for 5 minutes, and then they'll be ready to go. And you can just use the same parchment paper as you used earlier. There's no need to replace or anything because they're only going to be in the oven for about 5 minutes. Okay, so I let these bake for another 5 minutes, and then once I took them out of the oven, I let them cool for another 5 minutes. And then I made the white chocolate drizzle, and I used 3/4 cups of chocolate chips and 1 tablespoon of milk, and I used a double boiler method for that, which I also used my coconut macaroons video, and I'll put the link for that down below so you guys can check that out and learn how to use a double boiler method. So now it's time to decorate them. And you probably noticed that there's less of them now than there were when I put them in the oven, and that's because my boyfriend ate some of them because he had no patience. So there's 2 ways that you can decorate this. One way is you can just dip half of it in the chocolate, just like that. And then you can also dip that in the walnuts that I toasted. Just like that, and just put on the parchment paper so it can dry. Another way to do it is place it on the parchment paper, grab the spatula, and just drizzle it on top. And then you can do that same thing again. And then just put the walnuts on top. You can make this many different ways. You can always dip both sides also. Just hold it in the middle so you don't make a mess. And then dip that in the walnut. Oops, this one broke. Okay, I'll try that again. And make sure you toast the walnuts before you do this because it adds so much more flavor. There we go. And you can just eat them just like this too. You don't have to do the chocolate drizzle. Or you can always do milk chocolate drizzle or dark chocolate drizzle. It's all up to you. You can be as creative as you want. And then you want to let this stand for about 5 to 10 minutes so it can set and dry. Or you can just have it like this if you don't have patience for them to set. And it's really, really crunchy actually. And it's really, really yummy. I love the walnuts in here. And if you want, you can double the amount of walnuts if you like more in there. Or you can do half walnuts, half hazelnuts. You can be as creative as you want. So I hope you try this out and enjoy it, and thank you for watching.